Hey there, Mr. Reddit here. Welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parents Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today, Karen decides she needs my cat. After that, am I the jerk for telling my sister and her boyfriend I would no longer be helping them until they respected me? And after that, entitled mom tries to steal my laptop so her kid could play Fortnite. Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen does not get to take anyone's cat. But he's so cute! So please smash that like button. And if you're new, subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. Karen decides she needs my cat. I own 3 cats, which are all indoor cats and don't go outside. I've had 2 of them since kittens and the other since he was about 7. Anyways, one night I get a text message from a random number. I didn't recognize it at the time, but later found out who it was in text conversation. At 11 p.m., I get a call that I missed since I was sleeping. I ignore it, but the next day they send me a text message, which proceeds to a conversation. Karen: Hey, you have a ginger cat, right? Yes, what can I do for you? And who are you? Karen: Hi. So basically your aunt told me you have a cat when I called her. We are friends. And I was wondering if I can have it for my kid since you have 3. No, you cannot. I've had him since he was a kitten, and I wouldn't take £1 million for him. He's not for sale or to give away. Yeah, but I have a kid who really wants your ginger cat. We saw a pic, and he looks really cute. And besides, you have 3. As I said, you can give up 1. And my son really wants it. He loves cats. Look, sorry whoever you are, but as I already explained, it's a no. I love all my cats, and it would heartbreak me and him if I gave him away. Wow, you're so selfish. How can you get heartbroken when you have 3 and we have none? You're just being a jerk. And I'm a friend of your family, so it would be respectful if you gave one away. I don't know anyone else with a cat like yours. Do you really think adding insults is going to further convince me? Also, it's quite ironic you suggest I'm selfish. I don't see my cats as property, and I don't even know you. In fact, no one could convince me to give away any of my cats. In addition, if somehow I did accept this, which I would never do to anyone, what exactly would I gain from this? Nothing apart from my sadness that I lost one of my cats. Now stop with the childish insults and don't contact me further about this. Karen: Wow, buzz off, you jerk. You are not entitled to my pets. Maybe teach your kids and yourself not to be so entitled that your demands hurt others. I'm telling your aunt, you were so rude to me and being so selfish. I mean, you have 3 cats, we have 0. You will see how sorry you are when she takes away all of your cats and gives them to us for compensation, jerk. I'm 26. My aunt does not have any authority to take away my pets, nor would she agree with you. You should acknowledge that. Luckily, my friends are jerks like you, so she will. Okay, sport. Edit. Forgot to mention, but they did not contact my aunt after all this, despite saying they would. I told my aunt about it, and in response, distance/cut relations with her. Also, she wasn't great friends with her to start with, but generally someone she speaks to on occasion, and that was that. Speaking of cats, do you have a cat? And if so, what's their name? Please let us know. I wish I had a cat. All I have is big-headed Reddit boy over here. Am I the jerk for telling my sister and her boyfriend I would no longer be helping them until they respected me? I, 18, female, usually have family lunches with my sister, 24, female, and her boyfriend, 24, male. While we all get along somewhat decently, there's been a lot of tension and conflict coming from her boyfriend. When we first met, he was very cold to me and always commented negative things about me, mostly towards my dressing style or my career choice. I'm not sure exactly why or what, but he always has something to say about it every time he sees me. My parents and sister said he just needed some time to warm up to me as we began our usual thing of spending time with each other. Well, it never improved, and he was still always leaving negative remarks every time he came to our home and didn't stop when my parents told him to. I talked with my sister about it, and I told her I was getting tired of being disrespected by him while they had asked me to do errands for them. It is only minor things like getting groceries or picking things up for them. I thought I gave it enough time because it's been 7 months of this ever since I met him, and he's still making negative remarks towards me, although my parents and I have asked him to stop. My sister said I shouldn't be so hard on him because he has depression, but I really have tried to be accommodating and helping despite the horrible things he's been saying about me. I found out the reason from her after she was hesitant to tell me is that I look like his ex, who he had a failed relationship with, and my sister thinks that is why he's taking it out on me. I don't even know her, but apparently I dress like her and we both have similar dreams. I want to work in healthcare, she wants to be a nurse. I honestly have no clue what that would even have to do with me or the context of his past relationship, but I told her and her boyfriend when they came over a few days ago that I wasn't going to put up with his constant negativity and disrespect towards me anymore and wouldn't be helping them with their errands until they either apologize or learn to respect me. They prefer not to go out to run errands since they live in an apartment but come to the family home a few times a month, which is why they've been asking me to pick up groceries when I come back from my dorm to spend time with my family before heading back. So, am I the jerk for not wanting to help my sister and her boyfriend with their errands until they stop disrespecting me? My sister is torn because she said she is hurt that she has to choose between me or her boyfriend, and she says she cares for us too much to make a decision. I also know that depression is something very hard to struggle with, but I feel like this situation is too much to put up with after some long time now. Edit. I had a lot of questions in the comments and will be addressing them here since there are so many to respond to. I've seen a lot about why is he still coming to the family home and acting like that. Well, my parents and I have tried our best to be accommodating and welcoming, which is why we've hoped he would come around. When my sister first brought up the subject of him coming around, she said that he may be a little rude and to be kind to him because she said his depression is something that's been tough for him. So we've been understanding of that and don't want to come off as insensitive when we know that he is going through a lot. The reason I get their groceries for them is because when the lockdown restrictions were being lifted, on my way home from my university dorm, I pass a plaza with grocery stores, so they asked me to get their groceries on my way since it's not out of my way, and it's better if less people go so there's less exposure. The third one was regarding my parents and I handling it, which we have asked him a few times to please be kind, but we aren't sure how else to get our message and point across without sounding like jerks knowing that he has depression. I also didn't know how else to talk to him about it or have a polite conversation before he would break in with an insult or a negative remark. Oh, and my sister and I don't look completely alike, as I saw from other comments. We have different clothing styles, and I didn't know this, but I dyed my hair a few months ago, brown like his ex, and that was what my sister meant when she said that I bear a resemblance to his former partner. As for the part about choosing family or her partner, she says she feels conflicted because it would be like putting one before the other. Since she met him while he was struggling with his depression, she doesn't want him to feel hurt or go back to the same awful past he had. Any other questions I will try my best to answer, but thank you all for the kind words and insight. Well, what do you think? Is OP the Oh, come on, OP's not the jerk.
Darn right she's not, but her sister and that boyfriend surely are. And the parents too, for allowing that jerk to come in their home.
Entitled mom tries to steal my laptop so her kid could play Fortnite. This happened before lockdown, but that doesn't really matter as much to the story. So I was studying in the library and waiting for my parents to pick me up when entitled mom and entitled kid approached me. The conversation then starts like this. Entitled mom:
Excuse me, young man. The library's computer couldn't work, so can entitled kid please play Fortnite on your laptop?
Mind you, I'd be lucky if my computer could run a standard browser game. Me: Sorry, but I'm doing my assignments now, so I need my computer. Entitled mom chuckles.
Oh, I know you are not studying. You better share it with entitled kid, or I'll talk to your parents.
Me: Sorry, but I really can't. Look, your kid can play it on the library's computer using my card. You want me to register it for you? Just be sure to sign out after 1 hour. Entitled mom:
But can it play Fortnite?
Me: Probably not. I'm pretty sure you need to register to download all that stuff.
Please let him play. It'll only be for a few minutes.
Me: Sorry, I really can't. Entitled kid then tries to grab my laptop but is avoided by me. Entitled mom storms away. A few minutes later, they come back with a library staff who starts talking to me. Library staff: Hey buddy, I need you to give back entitled kid his laptop. Me: Pardon me? Staff: Look, you can't just grab people's laptops without asking, especially someone this small like entitled kid. Me: I'm pretty sure that's mine. I have all my Gmail and stuff. Staff: May I see it? Proceeds to show library staff my work. Staff: Entitled mom, are you sure this is entitled kids?
Actually, I let Entitled Kid play on my work laptop.
Staff, do you by any chance have an assignment on animal population genetics?
Yes, I'm actually a science teacher, and I'm marking my students' projects.
At this point, I was devastated that Entitled Mom would go this far to get some kid's laptop. Me, is it possible for you to check the security cams? I'm pretty sure you guys have those installed. Staff, okay, just wait here. Entitled Mom then proceeds to dash out of the library at a speed that even Usain Bolt would be jealous of. Library staff then comes back to me to apologize for what happened, but it was all good in the end. Entitled parent accuses blind girl of being able to see, gets handed an eyeful. I was reminded of this incident yesterday during a phone call with a friend from my college days. For a little background, my friend, I'll call her Jill, and I were both about 19 or 20 years old at the time of the incident in 1983. Do the math, and yes, I'm that old. Because Jill was blind, ocular melanoma, important later, she had an advocate. There is another name for this, but for the life of me, I can't think of what it is, but you get the idea. That went everywhere with her on the university campus. They made sure she made it safely to and from each of her classes and assisted her with test taking, etc. We met when Jill walked by my table in the student union hall, bumped into my coffee, and spilled it all over both of us. We've been friends ever since. Because Jill lived off campus with her parents and I lived in an off-campus apartment a few blocks away, I drove every day to school. We coordinated our class schedules so that I could drop her off to her advocate in the morning and in the afternoon. The advocate would bring her to me and I would take her home. This one particular semester, Jill's last class on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday ended an hour before mine. Normally, her advocate would hang out with her in the student union hall to wait for me. Since it was Friday, Jill insisted that the advocate bring her to the building where I had class and she would just wait for me there, closer to where I parked the car, and the advocate could go home a little early. This was something Jill did occasionally just to be nice. I always took the same route out of the building and knew to be on the lookout for her. This day, Jill was in her usual spot in the lobby. She was sitting on the floor, there were no seats, with her back against the wall, her cane folded beside her, tinted glasses on, and appearing to stare straight ahead. To Jill's left were the lobby doors, about 30 feet away. Jill thinks she had been sitting there for maybe 50 to 55 minutes when she heard what sounded like squeaky wheels rolling along the floor. She didn't bother to call out and just thought it was maybe the janitorial staff with those mop buckets on wheels getting an early start on mopping. Then she heard someone push the panic bar on one of the lobby's double doors and the wheels banging over the metal threshold. A moment later, a woman's voice filled the empty lobby. The conversation that ensued is to the best of Jill's and my memory. Karen:
What the heck is wrong with you young people? Never in my life have I seen so many inconsiderate brats in all my life.
Jill: I'm sorry? Karen:
And you should be, young lady. You could see that I needed help with this hand truck.
An upright metal thing with two wheels and a small base to put heavy stuff on to move it from one place to another.
But you just sat there and did absolutely nothing. Didn't anyone teach you manners?
Jill: I didn't see you.
How could you not see me? I'm the only other person here.
I'm sorry, but I didn't see you. I'm blind.
You really expect me to believe that? Blind people can't go to college? You're just too lazy to get off the floor.
Jill pulled her cane around, unfolded it, and got to her feet. Yes, ma'am, I am blind, and I can go to college. Me, rounding the corner. What's going on? Classes are letting out, and students are beginning to leave or change classes. Karen:
This girl expects me to believe she's blind.
Me: She is.
That's a load of crap. Prove it.
The woman walks up to Jill and takes the tinted glasses from her face. Karen:
See?
She directs this to the students who are hanging around to watch the drama as if she expected them to agree with her or take her side.
She can see. There's nothing wrong with her eyes. She's not really blind.
As I stated earlier, Jill had ocular melanoma. As a result, her eyes were surgically removed and she was fitted with prosthesis that looked real at a quick glance but didn't move like normal eyes and were a bit flat in their color. It was kind of like looking into the eyes of a very old doll. However, the best part of Jill's eyes, they were removable. Jill reached up, popped one eyeball out, and held it out to the woman. Here, look through this and tell me if you see anything. Karen backing away, screeching loudly.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
The woman backed away from us so fast she tripped over either her own feet or those of the gathering students, landed on her butt, and continued to scoot away. When she got to the door, she pulled herself up, grabbed her hand truck, and left. Jill maneuvered the eye back into the socket. The small crowd of students started clapping and laughing, and a few gave Jill a pat on the back. Jill signed dramatically. So much for that lady seeing things through my eyes, huh? Geez, I love Jill's humor. Boss was convinced we weren't working hard when he was at home. He decided to assign extra work. This story happened a few years ago while working in a kitchen in the city I live in. My boss was your typical lonely drunk, creepy compliments to the staff, and awkward conversations with them as well. Horrible to anyone working under him, and a lack of respect to other management when he felt he was above them. He ended most nights by disappearing during the dinner rush and slamming a 24 of beer by himself at home. My friend and I worked Tuesday and Saturday close shifts every day for a year. We became best friends through the suffering of this man. We could never do a good job in his eyes. Nothing was ever clean enough or good enough for him. He had this opinion that we never tried hard enough and we must be slacking off when he's not there. He decided the solution to his problem was to assign us extra cleaning. Since most everything was already perfectly clean, he decided to ask for two things: scrub the grout between the tiles and clean the foam ceiling inserts with soap and water. These had to be completed or we were going to get written up. The next day rolls around and things are not as clean as usual for the clothes since I was on my hands and knees scrubbing the tiles all night. Boss man took this as a personal attack and unloaded on us. I proceeded to explain that scrubbing it isn't getting it any cleaner and there's nothing I can do. I also showed him the one tile that came out of the floor. He grabs a butter knife and cuts all the grout out around one tile. It was black and crumbled and filled with oil. I tried explaining and showing him that he was going to ruin the floor, but it fell on deaf ears. And proving to himself it was possible by completely removing a tile, he told us it had to be done by the end of the week. Here's the malicious compliance. Despite me telling him that it wasn't working, he insisted he was right. I told him many times it would ruin the floor and he didn't listen. So that night, I spent a few hours doing exactly as he showed me until there was a large portion of the floor with loose tiles. He was disappointed that I only got about 1 square meter of flooring done and wanted the rest done by the end of the day. Commercial kitchens are huge and these tiles were small, so I decided to focus on the main line where everyone works. I got about 75% of the main working area degrouted in 2 days and left the loose tiles in their place. The floors in professional kitchens are designed to drain water in a specific direction and smooth enough to clear all debris when swept. Since the tiles were all loose in the floor, sweeping and mopping only pushed dirt and brown water into the holes where the grout used to be. Upper management came into work for the weekend and they all had to stand on this wet, stinky mess of tiles that was hard to balance on. It wasn't long before they asked what was wrong with the floor. Instead of saying that he made a mistake and asked us to do exactly that, he blamed us on the spot, saying he would never clean a floor like that and we must be stupid liars. Just truly a classic jerk. I never got around to soaking the foam ceiling boards, sadly, since I guess he realized how stupid it was. I never got any petty revenge either. I left feeling like bad people truly do just get away with being bad people. Skip to 6 months after I had left the company. I get a message from a friend who worked there as well. She explained that she had written a letter to HR detailing everything this guy had done to her and others in the workplace and in private. She mentioned she had included some things that I had told her. He was fired on the spot. No discussion or chance to prove himself. I'm not sure if they already knew he was like this, or maybe they just knew that no one would make up a 2-page, 5-paragraph letter about him for no reason. He left the country immediately after losing his job and filled his social media with photos of him in suits with captions like, "Heart of Gold." I still resent this man, but enjoy thinking about this story from time to time. I have many more stories about this man, but nothing that fits on this sub. Am I the jerk for adding coffee to brownies, despite my dad hating coffee? I'm a teenager, and during lockdown, while I was at home, I began to learn baking as a way to relieve stress. One of my favorite desserts is brownies. I started with a very basic brownie recipe, but slowly I've made it more and more elaborate to achieve ultimate chocolate fudge status. I do not really bake with anyone else in mind, I just like trying recipes. Most of the time it's a treat everyone can enjoy, but sometimes one of my 3 family members won't like what I made. At some point along the way, I watched a 100-hour brownie recipe and got the idea to start adding decaf coffee. I can't do caffeine for other reasons. I tried it was delicious, and my mother and brother absolutely loved it. My father didn't know what it was and ate them too, but when I revealed my secret ingredient was coffee, he got really upset. Ever since then, every time I make brownies, he asks me to take the coffee out. I tell him no because it's my recipe. That's the part where I might be a total jerk. I'm kind of stubborn about it. It's not like it stops him from eating them. He ate 1/2 of a 9-inch pan in less than 24 hours last time, with coffee. Last night, my college quarter ended, so I specifically made myself a pan of brownies in celebration. Of course, everyone was welcome to share my celebration. For some reason, that particular night, my dad simply got absolutely ticked that I wanted to add coffee. A little more of it, actually, and some dark chocolate, since that's really what I've wanted to do. I tried to reason out that these were brownies for me, really, but he just got more and more angry. I want to say whiny, but that feels mean. I added extra coffee anyway and baked them. Pure chocolate heaven. Best brownies yet. Denser than a black hole. Delicious. This morning he was very upset because he tasted the coffee and told me he was hurt. He then took 3 brownies from the pan and returned to his office. I'm not shoving them down his throat. Someone told me to just separate the batter into 2 bowls and bake them with and without coffee, but I usually can't afford to double the recipe and I don't have half pans. I also don't want to end up in my mom's conundrum. When she cooks, she almost always has to prepare 2 separate dinners, one for the rest of us, one for my dad without spices and onions and weird sauce, and usually more centered around cheese / Taco Bell fire sauce / tortillas. Basically, everything is a burrito. My brother and I help her out with cutting and prepping dinner since we've both gotten into cooking and helped her get over her fear of us holding knives. Thanks, Food Network. Still though, it's tedious to make a bland and good variation of a dish every time. Also doubles the leftover containers. Am I the jerk for adding coffee to my brownies, knowing that my dad, one of 3 people in the house, hates coffee? Well, what do you think? Is OP the jerk or not? Please let us know.
No, they're not. But they will be if they don't hand over some of those brownies. Yes.
Okay, that'll be 4 weeks. A million years ago, I worked for a leasing company. We leased anything from manufacturing equipment to jets, but our bread and butter was computers. One fine day, a customer calls in to find their salesman is on vacation. They don't like that, not one bit, and after being told that no, they will not be getting the number to his hotel in Aruba, they're passed on to Tommy. Tommy was the new guy, but in a good way. A customer would ask for something, and he'd spend 2 days reading white papers, benchmarks, and calling vendors to find the answer himself when there was a guy fully conversant in that technology 2 cubes away. Anyway, the customer wants 16 workstations in a hurry, SGI Octane dual processor with 128 megabyte video cards, 4 gigabytes of RAM, and monitors. They don't care how much it costs, but they need them as soon as possible. Tommy tells them he'll call back in an hour. He needs to speak to the vendors. Vendor 1 will take 3 weeks at least, they're out of stock. Vendor 2 will take 2 weeks and cost 20% more since they'll have to upgrade existing systems. SGI themselves quote 3 weeks. Tommy, for the first time in his life, remembers we had a former executive from SGI on staff and calls him begging for a contract that might make it faster. Executive: how about today? We have 20 of them in the warehouse. Sure, they're supposed to go to a customer, but that won't be for another 2 months. We can play some games with serial numbers on the lease after the replacements come in. Tommy thanked him and called the customer back. Customer: it's been almost 2 hours. Next time, don't promise a deadline you can't meet. Tommy: yeah, I know, and I'm sorry. I had to work pretty hard to track down what you need, and well, I've got some good news and some bad news. Customer: you called vendor 1? Tommy: yep, they can't have them to you for 3 weeks. You call any other vendors? Vendor 2, they want a markup but can have it in 2 weeks. I also spoke with, what about the manufacturer? I called them too. They also want 3 weeks, but we have, how much of a markup does vendor 2 want? 20%, but that doesn't matter because, go ahead and order them. You haven't heard the, if I never hear another word out of your mouth, it will be too soon. Just get it ordered, and I expect paperwork by 8 a.m. tomorrow. The customer paid an extra $250,000 plus interest and fees, and the guys in services got an extra 2 months to play Doom. With the reship delays on the order, they didn't get their machines for 4 weeks. Apparently, I pay rent to be a doorman? I live in a block of 6 flats in Scotland on the top floor. It's okay, fairly quiet, and the neighbors are nice. I know who all of them are. The main front door requires a key fob to enter, or you need to buzz someone in if they ring your intercom. I've only managed to lock myself out once so far. So this afternoon, I finally decided to brave the cold and take the recycling out. Key fob in my pocket. We have these big communal bins out in the pavement. One for cardboard, one for mixed recycling. You get the idea. The cardboard bin is across the street, opposite a row of parked cars. In our street, you can only park on one side of the road as it's a one-way street because of a nearby primary school. While I'm putting the recycling in the cardboard bin, I'm vaguely aware of someone leaving our block and heading towards one of the parked cars. I didn't think much of it, finished my cardboard disposal, and turned to go back inside. On my way, I see that the person who left the building is a youngish man I've never seen before. I let myself back inside with my key fob and let the main front door shut behind me before heading back upstairs to my flat, where it's nice and warm. 10 minutes later, there's quite an aggressive knocking at my door. I go to answer it, thinking it might be a parcel, to find the same youngish man from outside standing there. He looks furious. Me. Can I help you? Young man. Yeah, why didn't you hold the door open? Me. I beg your pardon? I know, I'm very English. Young man. You came inside from doing the bins and didn't hold the door open for me. That's so rude. Me. Oh, sorry, I didn't know you were behind me. I wasn't behind you. I was just getting something from my car, but I don't have a key fob, so you should have waited. Me. Wait, you wanted me to stand outside in the freezing cold for 10 minutes, waiting for you to finish doing something in your car, so I could let you back into the building? Well, yeah, that's the neighborly thing to do. Me. Okay, no. First of all, I don't know you. You're not my neighbor. I don't let strange men into a building I live in. Second of all, technically, you're not supposed to be here. I know you don't live here, and visiting households indoors isn't allowed in this part of Scotland. Third, whoever it is you're visiting could easily have given you their fob or buzzed you back in. I'm not going to freeze my butt off for anyone, especially you. Now, go away before I phone the police. He stomped back downstairs after that, fuming but silent. I might text my landlord and ask for a reduction in rent if I'm going to be a doorman as well. I locked my door, but his car isn't outside anymore, and I'm sure I heard my actual neighbors laughing at him when he went back downstairs. Entitled parent at my work demands that I pay for her and her kids to rock climb. Backstory. I work at a rock climbing gym. As an employee, I get a free membership. I get to climb for free, and I get 2 guest passes that are renewed 30 days after being used. I had already used both passes to climb with some friends. This is relevant later. I was working a nice morning shift. All the regular early customers had pretty much been signed in and paid for, and then Karen, entitled parent, walked in with a few of her kids. I actually recognized her. I was friends with her oldest son a long time ago, but I hadn't seen their family since the 4th grade, and she didn't recognize me, so I stayed quiet. The first register on the right side of the front desk was taken by another customer, so I called her over to the register on the left. For whatever reason, the left register only accepts card, no cash, just remember that. Entitled parent walks up, tells me what she needs to buy, what gear to rent, etc. When it's time for her to pay, she pulls out several $20 bills. Me. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention it. This register doesn't accept cash. Do you have a card? Entitled parent looks at me like some pond scum just started speaking to her. What? What are you even talking about? This little sign says, pay with cash to support local businesses. I'm trying to support local businesses, and your sign is totally wrong, so I would just take that down. Looking at her, I couldn't help but think, oh, you poor, poor rich woman. You have to put your wad of cash back in your nice purse. How sad. Anyway, I probably said something epically clever as an apology, like, sorry. So she stuffs her money back in her purse and pulls out some coupons. But you aren't allowed to combine coupons of the same deal for the same purchase, something like that. So I told her, and then she gave me this talk about customer service and told me all about how my rules were wrong. My rules? I have the lowest possible position of the employees. The rules aren't mine. So I just gave her her way and let her use her gift cards. But she wasn't done. The rest of her rant went something like this. Listen, buddy, I've been standing here far too long. My kids just want to climb. First you trick me with your stupid sign trying to get my cash, and then you tell me my coupons aren't valid? This customer service is terrible.
Can you give me a cashier who doesn't act stupid? Do you have a membership here?" I was getting a little upset. It was a weird way to end her little speech, but I told her I was a member. "So that means you have some free passes. I read your website. For all the trouble you just caused me, you need to use your passes on me and my kids, and you should also pay for our climbing gear." Me: "What? Well, I only have 2, and they are already used, and you can't ask me to pay for you." I actually have used my passes to pay for families who were a couple dollars short. But again, I didn't have any, and this lady was just the worst. I have the lowest position the job offers, and I'm not allowed to ask people to leave the gym. "What did you say to me, you little jerk? My kids rock climb all the time. They're good enough that you should pay for them. How dare you tell me what I can't do? Take me to your manager, boy. I'm going to get you fired, and I'm going to make you pay for us." Basically, her logic in her speech was that I didn't have kids, and I'm the one with a job, so I should just pay for her. I actually didn't know what to say. The climbing community is extremely friendly, so I have never had a rude customer come in. She poked her head behind the desk and grabbed the computers towards her so she could look at it and tell me how to give her my passes, and I grabbed the computer and told her to stop. "Assault! I'm reporting you." Me: "That isn't assault. You sure can speak to my boss. I would love to see what she has to say." She kept going on, and I had kept calm the whole time, but I told her to shut up. I don't remember what she said. She was going crazy yelling. We got to my boss. I started explaining what happened, but she cut me off. "No, first he wouldn't let me pay. He assaulted me and made fun of my kids. You need to make him pay for me and my kids to climb." My boss calmed her down, and I told my boss exactly what happened. And sure enough, my coworker confirmed I was right, and my boss checked the cameras and saw exactly what happened. Entitled Parent was asked to leave, was not banned from the facility, but was asked to not come back. I actually just feel bad about this whole thing. Like I said, I used to be friends with her son, and it's a rather bitter memory now. For the record, they're mostly a very nice family, and I even saw one of her kids tell her she was being rude during the whole thing. Even though she was acting really stupid, I don't hate her, but I would prefer not to see her again. Hope you enjoyed this. I didn't. You probably haven't seen this video right here, so please come watch it next and we'll see you when you get there. And if you join as a channel member today, I'll give you a special shout out in our next video. Or to have us make any kind of video you'd like us to, just come visit us on Fiverr. Link pinned in the comments below.